Hello, pal number one. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to be doing a reading on the healing power, the healing spiritual power that you innately have within you. It's going to be probably not too long of a reading, but I want it to be as succinct as possible. So, we'll be looking at your natural healing power that you have, where it kind of comes from, and that could be from like an akashic records perspective, or it could be just in your own life, in your own past history. And then we'll look at some advice on how you can use that power, like a helpful, good application of this healing energy, and then also maybe avenues to avoid. So let's just get right into it. So I'm just gonna pull some tarot right away, just so we can get a more detailed image. So we have the King of Rods for your healing power. So amazing. So I do really sense this fearless energy with this oracle card from the Kuan Yin Oracle. It says fearless with number 14, which comes to a 5, or turns into a 5 in numerology. That's a card of change and activity and energy and creative power. So I definitely get the idea that you guys have you have a creative vision, something that really empowers you to explore and be adventurous. I do sense that you guys really like color, so I think you might be like artists or visionaries in some sense, or you might have a really expressive way of dressing or painting or being in the world, something that really lights people up. I think you come in with an energy that's really bright and inspiring to others. So where the healing power comes from, we have the 5 of Swords. Also, by the way, I'm going to be clarifying as we go along. Like, I'll come back and do a little more depth into each part, so stick around to find out like a little bit more about each kind of aspect of this reading. So the 5 of Swords and where it comes from. So you definitely have experienced some difficult emotions, I would say, and some hard times in life. I think that people have been maybe jealous of you, or your energy has been a problem for others. That's how I'm going to put it. So I think like by you being your full expressive self, you've actually made people uncomfortable in the past, and that has left you feeling really alone and really sad and wondering why people can't just accept you for who you are. I'm really starting to get an overall vibe of like what you guys are all about. You're definitely being encouraged. I will just say right off the bat, you're definitely being encouraged to honor this creative spirit within yourself, to really honor that authenticity that you carry. You have something really special to offer to the world, and you need to be able to be free to explore that. And you also really need to learn how to, if you haven't already, but you need to learn how to appreciate your uniqueness, because with the flamingo here, even though the card says find healthy balance, I'm really thinking about the bright color of a flamingo and how they are part of a flock, but they are so unique as a species. And also their beautiful color comes from what they eat. And so I think that there's also pink here in the hummingbird, and hummingbirds, oops, sorry, I just knocked the camera. Hummingbirds also have bright colors, especially in the Pacific Northwest where I'm from. They have the bright pink chest. The Anna's hummingbird has this bright pink chest. And, well, the males do rather. And so I'm really seeing this kind of like, this need to be expressive and to be yourself and to just like be bright and be bold. With the hummingbird, also, I'm feeling drawn to really talk about the animals right now. So both of your animals are birds, so that's interesting. I feel like you need to feel free. You need to feel like you can fly and spread your wings and be yourself. I do also think that there's a masculine energy to this, which it's more like yang energy. It's not masculine in the sense of like males and men and the conditioning that men have put on them. It's more about this outward force energy. So I really think you guys have big, bold kind of energy to you. Even if you are a little bit like shyer sometimes, you have something about you that does make you stand out. And with hummingbirds, even though they're small and cute and they seem so delicate, they like weigh absolutely nothing. They are super feisty, like especially the males, they're always fighting. And to their like really fighting. Like I've had some pretty intense experiences with hummingbirds, and they're very bold. They come right up to you, stare you right in the eyes when they're flying and hovering in front of you, and they fight each other all the time for territory and this and that. And so I think I'm not saying you are a feisty or like argumentative person at all, but I do think that you have this bold resolve, I guess, to be who you want to be in the world. Now, with the Rose Garden Oracle from Rebecca Campbell's The Rose Oracle deck, this is called the Rose Garden, and it says, innocence, forgiveness, be gentle with yourself. This is the card that you guys were drawn to in the initial meditation as well. So with all this said, with all this kind of like yang energy that I'm talking about, there is this really beautiful softness to you guys, because I think what this is all about, this healing energy that you have, I think by being yourself, by expressing yourself artistically, creatively, visually, boldly, whatever you feel you need to be like to be yourself, that is, not only is it healing for other people, but first and foremost, it's healing for yourself. I think that you really need to resolve these strange, disorienting experiences that you've had in the past, where you've been happy for yourself. You've been like, I'm expanding. Look at these things that I can do. Look at my gifts. And then people have like walked away or shut you out or like criticized you or just felt weird or like as if your bigness is too much for them. And they're like, why can't you be smaller? And I really think that you need to it says be gentle with yourself. There's an element of forgiveness. Do you know what? This is so powerful. There's an element of forgiveness in the not stopping. Do you know what I mean? So like by not making yourself small, by continuing to be who you are actually forgiving those that couldn't handle you in the past. It's like an active forgiveness, because when you just keep going, you're like, look, I understand that I might be too big for you. And that's something that I can hold, that understanding that you might not be able to understand me or be able to appreciate me for who I am. That's okay. Like, you don't have to. And I forgive you for, being where you're at, and I'm still gonna go off and do my shit. You know what I mean? So with fearless, like really that is the bold, beautiful, healing energy that you have right now in your life, or maybe throughout your whole life. This fearless drive to transform and to be who you want to be. So I'm going to clarify just a little bit more on each of these like elements. So let's get a little bit more on where this healing energy is rooted. Like, what does it come from? Oh God, hold on. Just dropped all the cards. So where does this healing energy for pile number 1 people, where does this healing energy come from? The 5 of Swords. What is that all about? Okay. Ooh, the Chariot. That's beautiful. Look at this. Where does it come from? This really is a soul gift that you've come here with. That's what I'm getting with the Chariot. This is like, this is like divinely ordained. It's also perhaps part of your astrology. Like if you were to look at your astrological chart, you would probably see certain archetypes that would kind of outline this for you, or at least kind of support this aspect of yourself. The World in reverse, it's like This is something that you're still becoming. It's like there has probably been lots of iterations of it, and you've had layers of this type of this particular spiritual power that you have. It's been unfolding in layers throughout your life, and it will continue to do so. So you're not like at the end of the road with it. You're not even at your fullest extent. Like that's what's really cool. Your fullest unfolding. Like you haven't fully bloomed yet. And that's a very beautiful thing. Like that's you get to keep growing and keep unfolding. The hummingbird message is receive the sweetness of life. And so what I'm hearing is like, this is such a beautiful healing energy for yourself and for others, because innate in it is to truly enjoy your life, right? Like that's the whole point of what your healing power is to accept who you are, and therefore to live the life that is aligned with you, and to find joy, and to live according to your joy, and to live according to your authenticity and your heart's desire and all these things. Like this is absolutely what you are showing others, and by doing that, by demonstrating it in this fearless way and being whoever you feel like you are in that really core part of yourself, you're liberating other people as well, and you're letting other people see that it's possible. And it also helps them to forgive themselves and to forgive people in their lives that haven't really allowed them to explore who they really are without facing some kind of consequence. So that's really powerful so far. So yeah, really gorgeous energy. So let's see, like, let's look at some more advice on how you can use this power. So we have the Four of Rods. So I really do think that there's a message here about coming home to yourself, continually staying connected to your heart space. The Four of Wands, to me, is almost always like a heart space signifier. The heart is this, like the Anahata chakra. It's this opening into collective empathy and love, and the understanding that you are one with all. It's not necessarily romantic love. It's like love for the world and humanity. It's spiritual love. But then again, the Four of Wands is also a card of kind of like making it halfway, finding somewhere to land on the journey. And it's also a card about weddings and about celebration and like what, the opening into a new phase in life. It's a new, a portal into the next phase of life. So let's get a little more on how you can use this power. What is like a good application of this energy in your life? Like whether for bringing abundance or just for like having a good life in general. What are some ways that they can use this energy for pile number ones? What are some ways they can use this energy, spirit guides? Okay, a lot of cards came out. Ooh, a lot of cards came out. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to need a minute with these because there's quite a few powerful energies that came through for this message for you. How you can use this powerful energy that you have, this healing force you give off naturally. So for sure what I'm getting is you can help others to feel confident in themselves. You free people into their personal power. From anxiety, from doubt, from self-doubt, from overthinking, from feeling really bound by the laws of society and not really knowing where you fit in, and feeling like there's just way too many hurdles to overcome, and it's a world that locks you in place. I think that I'm feeling this energy of claustrophobia with the Nine of Swords. So from a place of claustrophobia and overthinking and mental illness, mental strife, you bring people into, you start to, I think what it is there's like a destabilizing that happens that's really, really healthy. It's like you can actually help to create an experience where someone realizes that they are the only people, they're the only person who's going to help themselves. They're the only thing that's going to validate themselves, liberate themselves. Like, they have to do it themselves. They can't rely on others to validate them. They can't rely on others to tell them that they're allowed to be who they are. They have to make that decision for themselves. And it's an incredibly healing moment in someone's journey, because, and by the way, I'm talking about like you doing this for others. This could just be like what you do for yourself. Okay. So just take this as it resonates. But this is the story that I'm getting. It's an extremely healing moment when someone realizes how empowered they really are. With the Temperance card, it's, for me, it is in relationship to the Devil card, which holds us bound to sort of external forces that we think we can't escape, but really we can. And the Temperance card comes in with this spiritual enlightenment energy of like, you are not bound to anything. You're free. Your soul is free. But I think this is like in reverse. It's talking about the personal aspect of that, of realizing that you have full autonomy of your soul. You are sovereign, so to speak. And then there's this new beginning with the Fool. There's this moment of like, okay, now I get to take a leap into this truth of mine, this spiritual truth of who I really am and who I want to be. And people take, or you take, a leap of faith into your authentic self, into your authentic life. And there's purity to it too, with this white rose and the Fool card. It's such a pure energy. It's like you do this with a pure heart, or you lead others into doing this with a pure heart. And with the orange hat, there's an open mind. There's a creative mind. There's an openness to what will happen, to what will unfold. But what guides you is this purity of heart and intention, which is just to do what is true for you. And that puts you onto your destiny, onto your path of destiny, or it puts others onto their path of destiny. And you know that that's where the power is in your healing power. It's ultimately to put people onto their soul paths and to find true fortune, and to really also to live. I'm really getting that. It's like to truly live, to feel like you are connected to the universe, to like the gods, to everything that moves and the forces of nature. And by living in this sense of self-empowerment and authenticity and expression, in whatever way you want to express yourself truly, you begin to understand like the mysteries of the universe, and also what it feels like to fulfill your destiny and to fulfill fate. Well, I guess fate and destiny might be two different things depending on your beliefs, but you know what I mean? Like the divine, the sort of like written path. The Wheel of Fortune can be like a sense of timing as well. And it's sort of the unfolding of events, of divine events that you can't really control. But by stepping off like the Fool, by stepping into your authentic path in this brave and open way, you put yourself finally into the hands of the universe, which then guides you forward in ways that are so magnificent and into vistas of experience that you couldn't have even fathomed of before stepping off into trust in the way that you do. And that just opens you up into this beautiful energy of the Queen of Rods, or Queen of Wands, which is this bright, sunny, wise, witchy kind of energy where you know you are completely sovereign of yourself. You are like an autonomous and creative being. You have power at your fingertips. She's very self-sufficient and self-satisfied, the Queen of Wands. And she also has a good sense of humor and a good outlook on like what life is about. So I really think that this is just about bringing yourself from a state of, or bringing others, even if it's just through example, from a state of sadness and grief and worry about not feeling like they can live in this world in a way that feels in any way comfortable. When you're just feeling pressured to live a life that doesn't feel aligned to you, it's just awful. You feel like you're constantly struggling and you can't figure anything out, and it just causes this like constant state of panic and anxiety and burnout. And you bring people through all of that kind of like enlightenment and letting go and getting back into life and into alignment with the unfolding of their destiny. And ultimately that brings people just really into this beautifully empowered existence. Wow, super beautiful energy. So yeah, and the Hierophant on the bottom of the deck in reverse also just says that you were kind of like you're your own boss, you're your own guide. So what are some avenues to avoid with this energy? Six of Rods, interesting. Knight of Swords. Okay, so I'm already getting like what you might want to avoid is over-identifying with conventional forms of success. So, so like, graduation or certain types of jobs or like getting certain degrees, blah, blah, blah. Like that's kind of where you're actually not really encouraged to spend your time worrying about anymore. It's not really about that, is what I'm getting. You have an unusual path. You have something that you can sense and feel your way through, and you don't need to be kowtowing. I'm hearing kowtowing to anyone else's idea of how to do things. The Knight of Swords also is like a very rushed and intellectually stimulating energy. I really get like rush. And this person is like focusing on the Six of Rods, or the Knight is focusing on the Six of Rods. And I really get this mental pressure to perform, mental pressure to do things in the way that like it's been decided upon by the collective that you should do things. Like stop. I'm just getting like, oh God, like shush. It's like noise, mental chatter, mental noise, other people's opinions. And also I think there's another message coming through about what to avoid is over-identifying with success itself. That's like a pretty deep one, because there can be a lot of fear in maybe acknowledging, by letting go of certain expectations around success. I think no matter how kind of unconventional we are as artists, creatives, or whatever we do in the world, we kind of still have this part of us that takes a while to let go of, if at all, that really wants to be successful in a conventional way, just because of the like relief that would bring, by like other people finally kind of getting it, or finally calming down about like where this path is leading us. But it's funny that you're being encouraged to sort of like not go down paths that might be tempting, in that sense. Like, okay, this is actually what I mean. Like, if you're gonna choose to go down a path of study or a path of training and certification, don't do it necessarily because it will have a conventional kind of like certification or something that will like to other people seem legit. Like, follow your intuition. This like find healthy balance too is really screaming out to me as like it's like a temperance card thing as well, but it is also about being sensitive and using your sensitivity to choose opportunities that will bring you success. So don't listen to other people's advertising about how good something is or how much success it will bring you. This also goes for just literally choosing like a path to walk down. I mean, not literally, but like a path, an occupation, or like a job or something, or like something that you want to pursue. Listen to your own instincts about that. You are a very instinctual person with the wands, King and Queen of Wands. And these birds here are very sensitive beings that are part of the air. They're like the air element, and you can definitely have a tendency to overthink things. So this is telling you to sort of like get back into your intuition, whether that's something that you feel in your body or it's something that you can see maybe in your mind's eye, or like whatever, however you use your intuition. Figure out the best strategy for that and use your intuition more than using other people's kind of ideas about success or their opinions about success. That's what I'm really getting with this. And yeah, try to avoid doing things or following a path in order to get money or to get wealth or to get esteem from others or validation from others. You really want to be turning back into your heart space always. Always come back to your heart space, because that's really where the healing energy is. You start to go off track if you think too much about what kind of success it will bring you or what kind of accolades it will bring you, because you are really on a spiritual mission. I'm getting you're on a spiritual path, and you understand that like by tapping into your authentic expression, it's really about the heart space. It's about who you are. It's about your core self, whatever that means. But it's about you freeing that creative spirit, that thing I'm always talking about, So like, allow yourself to be a visionary and be that creative person, and don't be guided by conventional forms of success or accolades from others. I'm really seeing that like other people's validation is not going to be something that will help you. It might actually like steer you away from the path. So try to bring it back to this application of the process of stepping into one's authentic life path. Like, this is what it's really about. I don't know how you do it. You might be someone who works with like esoteric systems like human design or astrology. You might just be like someone who is an artist and talks about these kinds of things, or like to an audience of people. You might be like a life coach. You might be a writer. These are all like, yeah, I'm really getting like a creator of some kind. It doesn't even matter. You don't even really have to be like advertising that you do this. You can just work in this way, this pattern of like moving out of mental anxiety, stepping back into trusting the universe, and then that eventually leading you into this embodied state of creativity. That's your process. That's how you can keep this energy flowing, this healing energy flowing within you. I mean, I don't know why I'm getting this, but one of you, somebody who's tuning into this, might create games, like board games, or at least someone's like an inventor, like literally has like an invention or something that's really inventive, like thinking something up. You could even create like apps, like, or but a physical object, like a toy or something. It's really interesting. Like, someone's inventing something. It's very cool. So yeah, this group is definitely the group for creatives who have both like a gentle spirit and also this like fiery passion to live their lives. Just remember not to live your life for anyone else's benefit, or well, that's the wrong way of putting it. For anyone else's satisfaction, rather. Like, don't be just doing things just to satisfy people who haven't even been able to comprehend what you could create. Like, they don't even know. Like, you need to follow your own destiny and your own heart and be fearless about it and be bold. And you can be cute and sassy and bright about it, but you still need to stick to your guns, Stick to your guns by staying connected to your heart. Okay? So that's all I have for you, Pile 1. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you again soon. And yeah, Thank you so much for spreading this beautiful healing power in the world. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. So today we're going to be looking at your healing power, your spiritual healing power. And we're going to look at what that power is, where it comes from, like perhaps from an akashic record standpoint, or maybe just from your own life in the past. And we'll also get some advice on how you can use that power, some helpful, good ways that you can apply it, and then also maybe some avenues to avoid, because it might kind of affect negatively your energy or other people's energy. So let's just get right into it. So already I have this beautiful kind of we have the card Held from the Rose Oracle deck, which you were drawn to. And the message there is sureness of the soil, unseen help, support, and community. Then we have the koala card with let go. But the image on the koala card, as you can see, is this koala clinging to a tree branch. So held with this koala, let go. Held, let go. Then we have Harvest Mother watches over me. So there really is this energy of watchfulness, holding, community, something of support, and family, and vigilance. And when I was meditating really quickly just before you started your reading, I got this sensation of people patting my shoulders, but not in a oh well done kind of a way, but in a way that a grandmother pats your shoulders for comfort and support when she comes up to stand next to you, that kind of a thing. There's something, the shoulders was definitely where my attention was drawn. And the shoulders are also the part of the body that is supportive in a sense. It's powerful, they're strong, they support things, we can support things on them. We can carry water on them, we can carry babies from them. It's a very interesting energy. It's very grounded and solid. So I think your healing power, I think we're starting to get there a little bit with this, is your healing power has something very grounded and physical, especially with the Eight of Pentacles here. So the Eight of Pentacles represents what the healing power is, or how you heal others. The Eight of Pentacles is it's a card of craft and work and creating beautiful things. So you might literally be a creator. You might be a fine artist or a craftsperson. You might be somebody who creates offerings of any kind. You use your creative energy to create things for others to enjoy. You could be a chef, somebody who makes food, somebody who creates, you could even create experiences for people in some way. But the point is, your creative energy, you apply it in order to heal others. That's what it is. It's or you have, at least, if it's not that you have done it that way, it's that your healing energy, it's something that you have crafted over time to such an extent that it's you are a master at helping others with it. Let's get another card for that. How do they help others with their healing and spiritual energy? Pile 2. How does it apply to others? Key, Page of Swords. So you speak, you spark people's imagination. You definitely speak. I have the Judgment card under at the bottom of the deck. So you don't have to all speak, but I think that at some point your words are significant. I also think that you call people to rise up in community. So I just got a really strong message that you guys are activists, or that you have some sense of the work that you do. You weave in ideas, intellectual ideas, that call people into a state of closeness with their community or an understanding. You bring people together to support each other in community. So this is like somebody who uses their platform or whatever they create, like whether or not they're creating physical things or like written things or offerings over the internet, whatever. You are for the people, and you bring people together through your ideas. But what this does is it actually has like a profound effect on your community, because that's why I'm getting the sense of you guys being activists with the Judgment card. You might not be like activists in the conventional sense of like going and chaining yourself to a tree to like stop deforestation, like, and going away for weeks at a time to like spend time on a certain location. Like, you might not be like physically activists, but your words are sparks of humanitarianism. Like, you are a humanitarian, but I think that you also are a leader in your community. So I think that you guys actually help others. I'm getting so many different branches of how this is expressed, so you have to bear with me. Some of you are leaders, and you lead with your thoughts or the things that you create. You bring people together. You show people how they should support each other. You support them by leading the way and by offering spaces or offerings that can help people come together even more or support them even better. You may also be just one of the many, but how you show up in your community, just like others, you might be quite humble about this. You might be like, oh, I'm not like any different than anyone else. I'm just putting in what I can put in. I'm just like doing my due diligence. I'm just doing what I can to help. You mustn't sell yourself short. Like, every little ounce of energy that you give towards the things that matter to you are incredibly, incredibly valuable, and you're creating a safer space for people by doing that. You're creating a safer world. So I'm seeing unseen help withheld. I think you are okay being behind the scenes. Some of you, like, even if you are a leader in some way, whatever that means, like, I don't really think that you think of yourself per se as a leader. I think that you're fine to just to know that what you're doing matters, and to put in place structures that help people and that can be found when they need to be found. And you don't need to be center stage about it, but you do really like making a contribution for sure. So this is such beautiful, profound, and very important energy. So clearly, I don't even think I need to just explain how this is obviously an incredibly beneficial healing power to have at any point in time, in any history, in any culture. But we definitely need this energy right now in the world. It's pretty bleak out there, and having like warm, solid people to know that are still trying and that aren't giving up is an incredible, incredible boon we all need. Okay, so I have 8 of Cups here as well. So okay, I'm going to use my other deck to clarify that just a wee bit. So the 8 of Cups, clarify the 8 of Cups for how their healing energy helps others. The 8 of Cups is 3 of Pentacles. The 8 of Cups is a card of searching for something, continuing to search onwards to find that thing that makes you happy. You definitely are someone who helps, how do I put this? I think you really are a guide, or there's a word I just heard, an usher. You're an usher for others. So I don't know if you know what I mean by usher, but like not the R&B artist. I mean like the person who walks people down the aisle at the theater to find their seats. So you literally help people. That's so powerful. You help people find what they are missing. You help people find what will make them feel happy. You help them return to where they belong. And you do this through love. You really do this through love, through inviting people towards you, inviting people into spaces that are comfortable for them, healing for them. You find people out who are, you open up your doors to people who are feeling a little bit lost in life, not sure where to turn next, or they're feeling a little bit like they are missing something, or they need some more connection. They need something that will bring them emotional fulfillment, or a sense of fulfillment. And you create that for them. You invite people in, and you invite connection in for people, or you are that person for, like, you play that role in people's lives. So even if you create objects, let's say you're like a craftsperson or an artist, you will literally create objects that make people feel genuinely happy, and inspired to like make something of themselves and make something of their life. You also might literally create kind of like a space where people can come in and shop and buy things that make them feel like creatively inspired, or even emotionally soothed. Like I've had that experience with like beautiful pottery, for example, or beautifully crafted objects in a beautiful store, where everything's like natural materials and it's extremely thought out. Everything is really sustainable. Like the intention behind all the craftsmanship is to like create a supportive and sustainable world that, like, you know what I mean? Like, and everything is just so beautiful, not just because of the aesthetics and craftsmanship, but because of like how and the intention with which it was made. And that is like an emotionally healing space. It's like not only because the things are pretty, but because it's like, oh yeah, this stuff matters. Like, this is the kind of stuff that matters. Like, if I'm going to use my money to buy, or if I'm going to try to gain things to make me happy, I can be conscious about it. So that's really interesting. And you can apply that message, hopefully, even if you're not a craftsperson. But yeah, I really do feel like you guys are community workers, a lot of you. You may have like a creative hobby, and that's why those messages are coming through, but you really could be working in like impoverished communities or communities that are kind of struggling. I'm thinking of people who work in like addiction centers, or maybe with children even. You could be like somebody who works in childcare. Like there's so many different ways that you could be using this healing energy. But the point is ultimately that you bring people together, and you make people realize that they are all in this together. You don't make people, it's just like it naturally happens. I think you could also all be teachers. Let me just put that out there. Teachers of any kind, or workshop holders, anything like that, where you bring people together, you show them that they can connect, and that connection is really important. And I think it also helps people to let go of their sense of having to do everything themselves. So this is also why it's so healing, especially in an activism sense, because activists of any kind usually think that they have to save the world, right? Like even if they kind of logically know they can't, they really still emotionally believe that it's like all on them to do everything. And there's something about your energy that makes people remember that they're just part of a whole, and that they whatever role that they can play that's enough. And then somebody else will take on another role, and together that's how we create a more beautiful world, and a world that's more supportive to us all. And in that sense, you are like a mother, and you show people what they can do together. The harvest is a time where communities come together and reap what they have sown over the spring and summer months. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And a good harvest leader is someone who can organize that. That's why Virgo is the organizer in the zodiac, because they also rule over the time of harvest in the northern hemisphere. And that means that they have to be the organizers, the ones who can divvy up responsibility and be extremely clear about what is going to work and what doesn't work, how to do things efficiently, how to make everybody do what they're good at, basically. And in that sense, have like a well-oiled machine, like the community works together to create abundance, because you can reap a whole bunch of wheat or whatever you're growing, or like you can like take all of the things that you have grown, put them in a pile, but then if you don't have a strategy for how to deal with all of that abundance in a big pile, you will lose so much of it. It will rot. It will not be able to be useful at all later in the year. So you have to know all these different strategies for how to retain the life force that's in the things that you create and grow during those like easier months. So I don't know why I'm describing harvest to you guys, but it's probably significant in some way. Maybe there are some like Virgo energy here, or maybe you guys have Virgo in your astrology somewhere that relates to your like life purpose and how you deal with others. You might be Virgo risings even. So where does this healing energy come from? What is it really rooted in for you? Like, is it an akashic records thing? Is it something from a past life? Is it from this life? Okay, so wow, a relationship. This is a big like spiritual lesson. I'm getting past life, but let's see a little bit. I think this is your experiences with people. You have understood through, whether through past lives or just through this one that you're living now, you've understood the value of relational interaction and how relationship is literally the core of life, right? Like, or not the core of life, but it's just, how do I describe this? Life is relationship. We are all in relationship to each other. Everything, not just people. I mean like all the creatures, all the elements of nature, all the forces, like everything touches everything. Everything is in relationship to something else. And you have understood this. I think you have understood this simply through living in the world. You're a very grounded energy, like I said, and I think you've probably had good teachers. You've had good, you've had elders that you can learn things from, even if it's not your own elders, but it's like you have looked up to people who are wise and you've seen what works. So you may also been like, you might be like historians or like people who are interested in history, because it's like you've seen what the sort of reality of humanity really is and what genuinely works and what makes change, and that is coming together. And the power of community is something that you've understood to be the most powerful force in the world. You know, like we get things done in numbers. This is from your own intuition. It's from your own sourcing of knowledge that you understand these mysteries. I don't know. I think you guys are really spiritual. You guys could be like yogis, people who understand like deeper structures of enlightenment. Like you've already done a lot of study. So you may not have learned this necessarily just through a past life, although with the High Priestess, you totally could be tapping into like esoteric knowledge and esoteric truths about the universe and about like what the truth is and how we're all connected. And this is through your own personal practice and your own personal study, while also I think you have shown up in this life to play this role, like to be a community support and to remind people how they're connected to each other. Because I think you've been very wise in past lives, and you've gathered so much knowledge and spiritual understanding that in this life you are enacting it in a very grounded way. it's kind of giving like bodhisattva. Like you're not like, you're very humble about this. I really get this humble energy. You're not like out there trying to be a guru. The point is to be on the ground. The point is to be a physical human this life, like to be the messy, warm bread body. You know what I mean? Like that's the point. But you do it with such a beautiful groundedness and wisdom. And that doesn't mean that you don't feel messy sometimes, that you don't feel pain and sadness. You've had to do your own work in being able to let go of things that made you feel afraid and made you feel like you couldn't rely on others. You've had to do your own work. But what this reading is really focusing on is like where you are now and what your healing power is now. And what it is like this extremely grounded, like ready to roll, let's go, I'm supporting people, I'm here, I can do this, like very empowered, very supportive kind of energy. Whew. Okay, so advice on how you can use this power a little more, because I think you're already using it. Queen of Pentacles, beautiful. And helpful for good applications of this energy. Okay, we have 3 of Pentacles again and the 5 of Cups. So yeah, definitely collaboration with others. Yeah, with 5 of Cups. So yeah, this is definitely about, you're very healing in communities. So you like help people to see to overcome pain in community. This is like really, really powerful. You bring gifts, like your presence is a gift. You may also literally, okay, I really am specifically getting like you teach skills to people who are maybe like have been like struggling with addiction or something. This is just an example. So like people who never finished high school, who went through the system, who like got addicted to drugs or alcohol, who ended up like on the street and who like never got their education, and then then eventually they get clean and they go back to school. Like my mom used to do this. She used to teach adults who were like recovering and who wanted to get their education again, and like they'd be in like their full adulthood. Like some of them were in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and it was really beautiful. And yeah, so I'm getting like you could do something like that, so to speak, like where you're helping people who have maybe lost something, you're helping them to rebuild. And you do this in groups, I'm really getting, or at least your intention is to do this in groups. And I do think this has to do with creating wealth, or like, how do I say this? It's like about wealth and stability, but not like huge amounts of money per se, but it's about what you deserve it's human decency, right? It's about like what everybody deserves. Everybody deserves a home. Everybody deserves food. They deserve more than enough that makes them comfortable, but they definitely deserve enough. Everybody needs to be well fed. Everybody needs to be well housed. Everybody needs to have the like support systems in place that help them live a healthy and, sustained life, like longevity and health. Like this is what you do. You could be doctors. There's so many different paths for you guys. Like you could be nurses, like for real. Yeah. And with the 5 of Cups, with the 5 of Cups and the 3 of Pentacles, look at these 3 things, right? It's like the 3 cups build and then the 3 pentacles being built. Like this is absolutely about transmuting people's sense of failure or their lack of resources or things that have, like, even if it's like the system has failed them and it's made them lose things, like they've lost things or they've never been able to have things that other people have. And it's like, you're like, okay, how can we work with that? How can I like help you to rebuild what you've lost or to build up your own self-assuredness so that you can support yourself? And this is a very like, it's such an optimistic line of work. Like you really do help bring people a sense of optimism and self-empowerment. And you do bring health and wellness to the world as well. So what's a path that you can avoid just so that it doesn't interfere with this healing power that you have. What is like a path or something that you should avoid so as not to interfere? Okay. The Emperor. Oh my God, interesting. This is such a different energy than what I've been picking up on. So this totally checks out for me, at least. So yeah, this is like this is like the antithesis to everything that you are about, right? Like the Emperor is like control and dominance in this scenario. I'm really getting that. Individual power, top-down power, like ruling over everyone just cause, like being the king of kings, right? Like this is not the energy for you. This is not really what you're about. It's not what you're interested in. It can be a really powerful energy in a different context, like a generative good one. But in this context, it's just like, this isn't it. Like that's not necessarily the approach that you're going to have good results. And what I'm really feeling is like, you may benefit personally from being more in the Emperor energy. That is like taking things for yourself, having a very individualistic mindset about success and power, feeling like you are more powerful than others, for example, even if like, let's say you have skills that other people don't, like you could potentially be extremely prideful about that and run with that and be like proud of yourself and like actually kind of show people up. Like this is not the way to be for you. You're more, your power lies in being on the ground with others and being an equal with others. And in that, that's where your leadership really, really, really takes root and makes positive change in the world. But if you're going to be in this Emperor energy, you are very powerful. So you definitely could generate a lot of abundance for yourself, but I think it will be spiritually impoverishing. Like you will not necessarily be, I think you'll feel lonely. That's really what it is. It's like, you can still do it in that way. You can still be in that energy of like power and dominant leadership. You could own, like you could be like CEO vibes, like sure, you could totally do that and you will be successful because that's how powerful you are. But you will feel alone and you will not necessarily be fulfilling. Oh, it's really strong what I'm getting. It's like you won't necessarily be fulfilling your divine destiny. This could actually potentially accrue some karma for you. And it wouldn't be like severe karma unless you're like hurting people and literally doing the opposite of everything you're about, like taking, exploiting people and taking advantage, like starting a business and then like exploiting workers in order to create the things that you want to create in the world. Like you could do that, but you will accrue karma, like pretty hard karma for that, I think. And then there's obviously ways to express this energy that are not so dramatic, but generally speaking, your healing power lies in staying connected to others and staying connected to your values, which is to help and support and create like widespread abundance for others through sustainable measures. Okay, so wow, what a powerful energy you guys have, and thank you so much for being here. It's such an honor to have somebody like you tapping into this reading, and I really hope that you resonated with the messages that came through and that you leave a comment or something or reach out because I'd love to connect. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thank you. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. Thank you for being here. So today we're doing a reading on your creative power, and I'm already getting such a beautiful energy from you guys. It's really easy. I kind of just want to jump right in, and I'll explain things as we go. But first off the bat, we have for your healing power, we have the Knight of Rods and the Sun card. I almost said the Star, but the Star does come up eventually in this reading. But so you guys are definitely creative forces to some degree. For sure, like there is for sure creative potential, creative energy in your healing power, in your general energy. Actually, what I'm getting with the Sun card is that you just radiate this energy that we're going to talk about today. You just completely embody it. Like, it's not something that like comes out only in certain scenarios or like in certain aspects of your personality. It's like the wholeness of you is your healing energy, the wholeness of what you are now at this point in life. And I say that because you have absolutely for sure been through some shit, let me tell you. You've been through something, at least one significant, huge life shift that came out of nowhere potentially, or that just like really rocked your world. You've had some serious turmoil in your life in the past. That is faux show. And you've healed from that. Like, I really think you guys have found stability since whatever happened to you. And you've been doing so much beautiful healing work on yourself to recover from whatever has happened in the past that has made you feel so rocked and that changed your world around, or that like ripped you out of a certain scenario that you thought you'd stay in. Like, it's so many different things it could be, but it's huge change with the Tower card. And you now have this outlook on what happened in the past as being like, okay, that was clearly for the best. Like, you've actually accepted it, which is incredibly, incredibly beautiful. Like with the Knight of Cups, you have refound your connection and your romance with the world. You're like, hey, you know what? I can start again. Like, I can have life be, like, I can live life again. Like, this isn't at all the end. This is just a new beginning. And so you've set a new foundation for yourself, and you're moving forward with an open heart, which is like so beautiful, especially if you've dealt with some really traumatic events in the past. You're blooming again. And that's the card that you chose for today's reading, is called the Bloom. It's from the Rose Oracle. And its message is creations realized, right time, harvest, celebrate. So you're in this state of celebration, and it's not just like a momentary thing for you guys. You are now, this is like who you are. You understand the blessings that come in this life, that if you get a chance to live, that in itself is a beautiful thing that needs to be celebrated as often as possible. And I think that you do celebrate life. Like, you're an avid liver is what I'm getting. Not a liver like the organ in the body. I mean, like, you live life avidly and with and ardently. That's the word I'm looking for. You're like a lover of life. With the Knight of Cups and Knight of Rods, you have this energy of being like almost like flirting with the world, you know, like with being so open and so adventurous, and also open-hearted, romantic with the world, not necessarily just to people, but like just to everything. And like seeing the beauty in things, like actually being still having that youthful mind where you're able to see the beauty in life. And I actually think that it took this big event that shifted your perspective. I think you actually were like forced to let go of things that perhaps you didn't want to let go of, but being forced to kind of made you have to come back into, you had to come back to yourself. You had to heal. You had to learn about who you really were, who you really wanted to be in the world. And that, I think it humbled you, but it also made you funnier. Like, it made you have like a better sense of humor. So like in my meditation before I started this reading, I was getting someone really just like giggling and chuckling, not in a creepy way, but in like a kind of like impish, playful way. And then somebody like dancing, kind of silly, and like just like generally feeling like kind of at ease with themselves and feeling really playful. So like, I don't know if you guys are like comedians by profession or anything like that, but you definitely don't have to be. I just think that you have like this really bright, optimistic energy. Yeah, God, it's really all over your reading. Like, the peacock is share your true colors. And so this is just really, I mean, need I say more, right? Like, it's such a flamboyant and kind of playful and showy energy, the peacock. It's so colorful. And the mouse, release worry. You guys got 3 animal oracles, by the way. Like, that's the most of any of the other piles, but I let it happen because it's fine. Like, if the mouse wants to come out, the mouse can come out, you know? And he says, release worry. Of all creatures to say release worry, the mouse, like, isn't that beautiful? Like, the mouse is like so skittish of everything, right? Usually. And he's like, don't worry about it. So it's really something, like, to be brave in the face of no reason to be brave. Like, that's really what it is. It's like, you have no reason to be brave and yet you are. Wow. Like, that's so cool. Like, you have no reason to be joyful and yet you are. Like, what a fucking miracle. Sorry, excuse my French, but like, holy moly. Like, that is, I don't even know if I need to say any more about this reading, because it's like, is that not like the most beautiful healing energy that you could bring to the world? Like, reminding people just through your way of being that no matter what happens, I'm going to cry. I'm literally going to cry saying this. Holy crap. Like, no matter what happens, there is still joy. There's still always an opportunity for joy, that like life is still lifing, man. And like having a sense of humor about it all is like probably the most wonderful healing energy you could bring to people, because when other people are suffering and you can bring them both your wisdom and also your humor, it's such a spiritual energy. It's like incredibly spiritual to be able to laugh in the face of fear and in the face of like worry and hardship. Like, not laughing at people or at people's hardship. It's like finding humor even in the depths of despair. Like, and I don't think that you're in the depths of despair right now. I just think that you have been there. So you just know. And that deepens you in such a way that's so profound. It's like giving Buddha energy. Like, you know what it's like to like lose everything, or to have the rug pulled out from under your feet, or to have like a huge change and then have to recover from it. Like, you get it. And I think that you've been freed in some way. I think that you actually are able to see that, or you have decided to look at the circumstances of your life as just an opportunity to have been freed from something. Like, you feel like liberated in some way. It's almost like those people who like kind of lose everything, like physical possession wise. And then they're like, eventually they just finally accept it, and then they feel actually quite grateful that they don't have any of those burdens anymore, and like they feel spiritually more connected and less burdened by having like not all those possessions and not all that financial burden on them. It's really something. So yeah, I mean, I could keep talking about your energy for ages, but that's what I'm getting so far. What we have here about like advice on how you can use this power. We have the star card that came through, which is like a beautiful guiding light to others. So you might be like an example for others in a sense, to never give up faith and hope. You could also be someone who is like quite, like, what's the word? Like, you might be really not faithful. That's not the word I'm looking for, but you have like a spiritual faith that guides you. And especially people who experience like trauma or things that have happened in the past, like a connection to God and a connection to like the universe and the creator and the divine, it is so healing and so powerful, and it gets you through. And you help others by sharing that and by being that, like by literally living that truth, by living that trust that you have in the divine, knowing that you're always guided and always looked after. That is a gift that I think what happens is, by you just existing in the world, like I said, you offer people a new perspective that they may not have really considered before. And it piques them out of apathy. So when people are feeling apathetic about the world and they're like, ugh, whatever, like almost like nihilistic in like the shitty way, like they think that, I mean, nihilism is not necessarily a shitty thing or an apathetic way of being in the world at all, but that's another conversation. But anyway, in this scenario, this is like people who are feeling pretty bored with life, pretty uninspired, pretty like thinking pretty negatively about things. And then you come along and you just show them what it's like to be alive again, and that like you spark them into spiritual. Well, I think you hold, okay, so let's just hear me out. So you have this incredibly powerful spiritual faith and this like divine faith that guides you. And your presence sparks people into like out of apathy, just because you carry with you that energy that's so spiritual and divine, and the God spirit is so within you. It like radiates from you. And then you bring people hope. And you bring people not just hope about like the things they're worried about, but you bring people hope about like that life is worth living. And then that ultimately brings people back into their bodies. It brings people back into the world and into finally valuing the world, valuing life again. Like remembering that like they are part of the world, and that it's an important thing to be part of the world, and that there's so many different ways that they can show up. And you live this every day. You live out your connection to life through the things that you can do here. You really, really, really like deeply value your own life. And that's so beautiful. You're like, this is precious. I can do so much here. Look at all these cool things I can do. I can like play. I can make food. I can like make a beautiful home for others. I can just like be in the world and like touch the earth. And like, that is a wondrous thing. And I don't know how you do this. You might do this in your daily life, or you might do this through the work that you do, but it doesn't matter, because whoever you guys are, it's like you just radiate this anyway. So no matter what you do, your healing energy will just radiate from you. So like some people's healing power is sort of like tied up or like woven in with their destiny. And so it kind of comes through their like life path and then into their like work, their like life's work that they do. And that's really cool. It can be like really tied up in that. But you guys are kind of that group where it really does not matter what you do as a job in this life. And I'm not sorry if you're like searching for answers around that right now, because this isn't really the message that's going to give you those answers. But we can give you those answers in another reading, or try to. Excuse me. But in any case, you guys could be a mailman, or you could be like a queen, or you could be like, I don't know, like a hockey player. Like it literally doesn't matter, because the energy is about it's also like your physical presence or your voice, or just like you being seen and being like around people. Like that's where the energy really exudes. And also just want to say, even if you hermited and you never saw anyone on the planet, this healing energy or power that you have, it's like for the world. It's for the spiritual resonance of the world. So like your energy would just be radiating onto like plants and animals and like the other than human world, and they would benefit. So it doesn't really matter. Like you don't even have to be around humans for this healing gift to be like making an impact and changing the world. Like you existing in this energy, like so to speak, lifts the vibration, or like, you know what I mean? Like heightens the vibration of the word, whatever the spiritual new agey way of saying that is, you know, like you raise you raise the vibration of the collective just by existing in this state of mind. So one last message for you guys. Actually two last messages. So what's a helpful kind of like way or application of this energy, like a way that you can best use your healing gift, your healing power? Page of Pentacles. Okay. Learning Being curious in the world. Yeah, these are good. These are things that you can do with your healing power that will be like beneficial for you and for other people. Just keep, it's like the message is like keep doing these kinds of things, you know? But yeah, you should definitely be, oh, and Hermit came out too. Interesting. So I think this is about learning for sure. So your healing power is really well suited to deeper, the pursuit of knowledge, and also self-study and self-introspection, and the pursuit of enlightenment as well. So you are already on a track to like true enlightenment if you're not already kind of like there. And you're definitely being encouraged to continue to study, because it's just going to like build and snowball this beautiful understanding that you have of like what life is really about and how to be here. You could also guide others into that. So you could like lead people on retreats. You could be someone who goes to retreats and deepens your understanding, deepens your knowledge and study of spiritual matters. But I think if you do want to use this healing power and like apply it to kind of a work, you would definitely be well suited to like meditation teachers, yoga teachers, any kind of spiritual teacher, or teaching in a spiritual environment, or retreats, like guiding people on retreats or holding space in retreat. Yeah, you can also teach some skills. That's why I'm also really getting like yoga teachers, in that you're like teaching people breath work. I don't know why the Page of Pentacles is giving me that. It's like lungs. I mean, you could just be breathwork teachers in general, but there's something about your perspective that really brings people into a state of joy and also of like being able to be themselves, because that's a blessing, right? Like just really appreciating the uniqueness of every single life, and how it's just like, just be yourself, be easy, make sure you laugh, appreciate what you do have, and also appreciate that like small things are blessings. Small things are blessings. Like you don't need to have an incredible overabundance of things to feel happy and content and joyful. And it's such a good thing to know that having like a good foundation of things that keep you supported and keep your life healthy, that's important. And then the rest is just like fun and play, and like you bring that to people. You just bring that energy into the world, and it's gorgeous. Yeah, and with the Hermit card having sneakily came out, I really do think that like there is a message that you could guide people into beautiful experiences of like self introspection, or like meditative retreats and like things like that, because you just have a really good way of, you're set up for that for sure. For sure. So something that you might want to avoid, let's see, like a path or an avenue to avoid, just that won't really be helpful in terms of this energy that you carry. So something you should avoid. One message for pile number 3. Getting like a lot of cards flipping out, and it's kind of weird. Okay, I'll just take them. I'll take them. So right away I'm getting a very specific message for some of you to avoid like drinking and partying super much. You might also be like specifically not down for drinking, or you might have had, I got this message in my head earlier and didn't say it out loud. So some of you may have had big life changes or big things, devastating events that have happened due to addiction, and you might be sober now. So this is not going to be for everyone, but if it is, I am sending you so much beautiful love and like just huge celebratory energy, because good for you. And like that's a massive thing to accomplish, and I'm proud of you. I don't even know you, but like, my goodness, it's really inspiring when people do that. But of course everyone's journey is different, and but I am really getting like a very specific message. You might not have had struggled with like deep or like full-on addiction. It might just be something that you know that you don't do well with, but I am getting to avoid partying and drinking, or partying in the sense of like when there's like lots of like drugs and alcohol involved and like kind of chaotic energy. Like it doesn't seem to help you. It seems to pull you away from your vision and to pull you away from that sense of openness. That's what I'm getting with the Three of Rods in reverse. It's like you aren't able to see the world in that beautiful, playful way when you're busy, distracted in these kinds of like strange, these environments that pull you away from your body and your health. Like it seems to impact it impacts your spiritual well-being. Like really. Yeah, this is something that I personally really get, and I know that I have a few friends that also feel this way as well, and it's like a process. But so like because this message is coming up, it might be something that you still kind of like partake in once in a while, and that's okay. It's not like saying like this is the worst thing ever and it's like gonna kill you. It's like just saying like be aware that like those kinds of environments of like really kind of boozy or like over the top partying it will kind of have this effect, and it's going to sort of darken and dampen your bright energy. And so to be aware of that and just to clock it, you know. The Five of Cups is on the bottom of the deck, and look at the spilled drinks. Like it's drinks. I'm really getting such a specific message. I think if it's not about drinking and alcohol and drugs or whatever, and that's not relating to you guys, then I think definitely the message is to avoid people or groups of people that do not help you to see your, that don't really like support your way of seeing the world and your optimism. So if there's people in your life that kind of try to like tell you that you're weird for thinking about things in this way, or for being so optimistic, or for dreaming at all, or for like being a joy, and they're kind of like trying to drag you down, or they're like kind of like weird and peer pressure-y and just kind of like, I don't know, like being like not letting you be yourself, then you should avoid those people. That's like the clear energy. It's like don't be hanging out in groups or one-on-one or whatever with people who don't share your vision, but that's sort of more like who have a very different or negative impact on your vision. Like there might be people who don't exactly see things the same way as you, but you still can like benefit each other. You can still be like good forces in each other's lives. You know what I mean? And then there's people who really kind of like darken the horizon, you know? And you know what I mean by that. I don't have to over explain it. So that is your beautiful message, pile number 3, people. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you continue to shine this beautiful sunny light. Just radiate those vibes, those beautiful spiritual vibes that you have, that connection you have to life, knowing that you can always start again. You're so empowered in yourself in such a gentle and like free way. Like you are not bound to anything now. It's so gorgeous. You know that like you're always protected, and it's such a pure way of being in the world. Like you can trust that no matter where life takes you, you're going to be okay. And then also that things happen when they happen, and like there's nothing you can really do sometimes, and you just know that like over time, in the right timing, things unfold and beautiful creations can be created again. And that sometimes rebuilding does take time, but in the meanwhile, you can enjoy yourself and you can really appreciate the blessings that you do have with you while you rebuild and while you kind of like gain your wealth back or build a new form of wealth. Yeah? Okay, so hopefully that resonates with you. And thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.